quiet down, I certainly would like to welcome everybody for coming to the 25th Annual State of the City Address. Coincidentally, I guess we're also celebrating my return to Ottawa because I came back 25 years ago. So, how about that? And I'd like to tell the mayor of our wonderful city that I'm very, very proud to tell people that I am from Ottawa, and I'd like to think that all of you here who support the chamber feel that very same way. So, first on our dignitaries list that I'd like to Mayor Robert Eschbach, and I didn't see him. There he is, right there. And before I get too much further along, I will be remiss and catch hell from Meg for not reminding you people that have your cell phones in the not the vibrate position to please change them and so they don't go off and make all kinds of noise and have to walk out and things like that. Other dignitaries we've got with us today are Commissioner Dan Awesome, Commissioner Wayne Eichelkraut, IVCC President Barry Corcoran, Luke Phelan representing Congressman Adam Kinzinger, and O.J. Stoutner representing Senator Sue Rezin. Next, I'm going to introduce Jay LeSueur to come in and handle the pledge. Or do you want me to do the pledge? All right, if everybody would please stand and go to my right, and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now you're going to be real lucky because you get me to go away, and Jay LeSueur will be the MC for the rest of the show. Thanks, Jay.
Thank you. On each table, you'll find paper and pen. If you would, put any questions down that you'd like to be asked this afternoon, and after the mayor's address, we'll have a little question and answer time. Megan and Crystal will circulate through the room and collect your questions. Jack said this is the 25th, and to the best of my knowledge, this will be number 16 for our guest speaker today. He's done the great majority of these fabulous State of the City addresses. So if you would, please welcome the Honorable Robert Eschbach.
Reminds me, I was at a celebration at the Congregational Church about a month ago. It was their 175th anniversary, and the woman who introduced me was very nervous, and she referred to me as the Reverend Robert Eschbach. I said that had never occurred before. Well, thank you all, as always, for this opportunity to bring you up to date on the state of the City of Ottawa. By sponsoring this event, the Chamber gives me a rare opportunity to provide a lot of information to a somewhat captive audience. Having said that, I realize that last year's presentation was fairly long, and I have condensed this considerably, and in fact, it's about 15 pages shorter than last year. Applause for applause. In doing so, I note that a lot of wonderful people and organizations are doing wonderful things in the city that I won't be able to mention today. But rather, this will be sort of a year in review, hitting upon the highlights of the past year, particularly as it relates to the local economy and the role the city plays, both directly through our economic development strategies and actions, and indirectly through the services and quality of life we try to provide that are the foundation for any economically viable community. Before I begin, I'd like to note the passing of Commissioner Whitney last December. Ed served Ottawa as a police officer and chief for over 23 years, as well as a commissioner for about 19 years. His dedication to the city and concern for its residents was always evident, and he is missed by us all. Commissioner Whitney's place on the council is now held by Commissioner James Less, and it's been my pleasure to work with James along with Commissioners Wayne Eichelkraut, Dan Awesome, and Dale Baxter. And it looks as though the improving economy is reflected in what's happening here in our city. I often ask Boyd to kind of poll the major employers and see what's going on, and he did that for me today. Pilkington, for example, advises us that 2014 is looking good, in part due to more domestic demand for its product. Pilkington is projecting some likely capital expenditures at its auto plant in 2015. In 2013, the company hired 1 new employee. In 2014, they have hired 19 to date and plan on hiring 10 more. On the other side of town, Crystal Metals Powder has launched plans for a $15 million equipment and infrastructure expansion and upgrade to their titanium powder development project, the bulk of which will be spent in 2015. And MDL is launching a new product line after significant investment at its facility here in Ottawa to provide motorcycle belts, and will be entering other performance markets with similar products. HR Imaging has returned to its seasonal employment of over 300 employees, almost at what it was prior to the 2008 recession. The company has started service into Iowa, 7th state, and has installed new data-driven printing presses, a new data-driven printing press, and established a new division, Pick Solution Publishing, serving the high school hardcover yearbook market. Sabic Ottawa and Canal Road is investing in a major expansion of its production capabilities, bringing a new product line to its portfolio. This project takes advantage of Sabic Ottawa's outstanding team and is already low-cost position in the industry, increasing the importance of the Ottawa plant and the Sabic organization. And I don't have the numbers, but I remember Brian Locker telling me there was a considerable number of new employees that are being hired there. And U.S. Silica, to meet the growing demand for sand, has expanded its offices in Ottawa this past year and hired over 20 new employees already this year. The City of Ottawa has developed an aggressive and diverse three-pronged approach to attracting new businesses and new jobs. We are focusing primarily on the following 3 general areas. First, the Ottawa Industrial Park and the areas north of Route 80 that are designated for industrial and distribution center growth. Secondly, retail growth on the north side, the Interstate 80 corridor as well as Norris Drive. And third, downtown Ottawa and the Ottawa waterfront. And I'd like to just briefly talk a little bit about each one. With respect to the industrial park on East Route 6, we have one of Ottawa's most effective tools for attracting industry. Our goal is to have one of the most attractive industrial parks in the state of Illinois, one positioned to quickly supply prospects with all the necessary amenities and incentives. With this in mind, the city is close to completing a $4.7 million project to further expand and upgrade the park, including the following infrastructure, new roadways, rail service, and utilities. The project is being supported with a $3 million combination of state and federal grants. Another major factor in making the area north of I-80 much more attractive to development was the success this year we had in convincing the Illinois legislature and the governor to expand the life of the North TIF. That's an expansion by an additional 12 years. Without this action, the North TIF would have expired in just 2 years, leaving the north side without these vital TIF incentives. Special thanks goes to State Representative Frank Montino and State Senator Sue Resin for shepherding the legislation through Springfield. Here at home, our own Dave Noble, the city engineer and TIF manager, convinced all of the local governmental bodies and school districts to support the expansion, which was required before the state could act. A little bit about the north side and our attempts to get more retail growth there. Just 2 years ago, the north side of Ottawa featured 3 abandoned big box stores, the former Value City, Kmart, and Walmart stores, several shuttered restaurants, and many empty storefronts. The city responded to this challenge by placing this area into a new TIF, thus providing a significant development incentive to prospective investors. I'm pleased to report that 2 of the 3 empty buildings have been filled with outstanding businesses: the Value City building with a state-of-the-art Bill Walsh Ford Kia dealership, and the Kmart building with RP Lumber. RP Lumber just had its grand opening 2 weeks ago, and by every indication will be a major addition to the Ottawa economy. Its Ottawa store is one of the largest of its nearly 60 family-owned stores across Illinois and Missouri. Other new businesses in this area include the Label Shop, Anytime Fitness, and Chef's Helper. In addition, Bill Walsh Automotive has opened an expanded and greatly updated Honda dealership, and Hardees has reopened. And on Norris Drive, Steve's Bakery has opened a newly relocated store, and Casey's has expanded its gas station. The city is still working on developing a striking and attractive Welcome to Ottawa sign on Route 23 at the Interstate 80 interchange. A little bit about downtown. The city's commitment to beautification of the downtown through its gardening and botanical arts program continues to pay off with the creation of new businesses and eating places. The beautification program moved forward this year with the streetscape of the 200 block of West Main Street, thanks to the support of a $99,000 grant from the USDA, along with the landscaping of City Hall. Combining the beautification with the ongoing restoration of the downtown historic architecture has created an ambience in the downtown which causes people to want to visit, shop, do business, and increasingly even to live in the downtown area. We're also very excited about the Columbus Street Streetscape project, which we hope to see installed next year. This is a $1 million project, 80% grant funded, and will provide new street lighting and landscaping on Columbus Street from the Veterans Memorial Bridge to Washington Square. This beautification would not be possible without the many volunteers who maintain the floral and tree beds. I want to thank them for their hard work and willingness to volunteer. Another reason for the beauty of the downtown is the vision and experience of Stephanie Stacy, the owner of Gardens Gate Nursery, who serves as our horticultural advisor. The beautiful hanging baskets are her creations. New businesses in the downtown include the Sticky Lizard frozen yogurt and ice cream shop, which I understand will also be serving hot drinks and soup in the wintertime. Iconic, a new women's clothing store. Main Street Organics, a natural food store. Snow Shop for shaved ice. And Famous Coffee Roasting Company. And at the moment, prospects for next year include a brew pub, a French pastry bakery, a brick oven and baked pizza restaurant, along with the expansion of a current popular restaurant. Additionally, the city is working to place the Margarita building on Court Street back into commercial use. This year, the exterior restoration of St. Columba Church was completed, resulting in a strikingly beautiful historic structure towering over the downtown area. And the city continues to work with downtown property owners on facade improvements. One of the most interesting projects this year was the reuse of a turn-of-the-century stone bank facade, which was disassembled in Ransom, Illinois, transported to Ottawa, and reassembled on the site of the First National Bank building in downtown Ottawa. Thanks to First National Bank for taking on such an ambitious project, and to Ottawa Masonry for the quality craftsmanship exhibited in resizing and reassembling the limestone pieces. Next year, we hope to see trompe-l'oeil murals in the window and door openings of this project. Another facade project this year was the Columbus Street location of Encore Hair Studio. And there are two very interesting projects on the drawing board. The first is a new proposed facade for Rock, Paper, Scissors, which is soon to be relocated in the 700 block of LaSalle Street. One storefront concept under consideration shown here. And the other property is in the process of restoration is the historic building at the corner of Main and Clinton Streets, with a drawing showing an anticipated look after restoration. Reddick Library District is nearing completion of a $2.1 million renovation of its facility on Canal Street. New mechanical systems and impressive upgrades in the public areas makes for a centrally located first-class library to serve the public for many years to come. The board, Kathy Clare and her staff, have done an excellent job at seeing this project through to completion. And by the way, there's an open house at the library on Sunday, November 9th from 2 to 4. I had a tour recently. It's really something to see. On the other hand, a huge downtown disappointment is the inability to save the Little City building. Over the past year, our community development staff put in many hours creating an innovative strategy featuring the donation of the building to the city, followed by the use of IEPA grant to remove the asbestos containment, and then the sale of the building to a developer committed to its commercial use. Unfortunately, after very thorough structural engineering analysis, it became clear the cost of making just the structural improvements needed to safely remove the asbestos was just too high for any investor to bear. As a result, the city is seeking grant funds for the demolition of the building. We gave it our best shot, and I want to thank Larry and Karen Keist for being willing to support our efforts to rehab the building. While on the subject, I would like to note that due to the economy, there are many other abandoned and blighted properties in Ottawa. In the past, the economy sort of took care of that. If a building was run down, somebody would buy it and rehab it and fix it up. But that hasn't been the case in the last couple of years. A rundown and abandoned building can be an eyesore on an entire neighborhood and can bring down nearby property values. Because of this, the city is seeking court orders to acquire legally abandoned properties and explore grant opportunities to fund the demolition of abandoned, rundown houses that are beyond repair. We will also be ramping up our inspection and enforcement so that these problems do not grow. One of the major economic development projects we're working on is a new enterprise zone to replace the current enterprise zone, which will expire in 2016. The state of Illinois' primary tool for attracting industrial development is the enterprise zone program. To qualify for state benefits, an industry needs to be located in an enterprise zone. Congratulations should be given to councils from years gone by who had the foresight to create the original enterprise zone in 1986. It's been incredibly successful with private investment exceeding $1.5 billion and the creation of over 3,000 new permanent jobs. Now is the time again to apply for a new enterprise zone to continue into the future. Getting the new enterprise zone is a competitive process with applications due by the end of the year. We'll be partnering with Grundy County in our new submittal as we have in the past, and we believe we have a very excellent chance to obtain one of the new enterprise zone designations. We're also seeing good signs in the residential area. This past year saw an increase in the amount of new residential development in the city, following several years of decline during the recession. In the past year, the city has issued building permits for 26 new housing units, compared with only 13 for the previous year. There's also been a substantial increase in activity at Heritage Harbor, Ottawa. Heritage Harbor had more than 20 new residential homes and home site closings thus far in 2014. This past July, Heritage Harbor opened sales in the final phase of its 30-unit cottage project. Already 9 new sales have occurred in the cottages at Heron's Landing, which also offers buyers investment opportunities. The final phase of the cottage development is expected to sell out by the end of the year. Other new products include carriage homes at River Row and the new Flight Series, initiated with a luxury townhome product now under construction with availability by the end of the year. In May of this year, the city adopted a new comprehensive plan replacing the building on the 2002 plan. The goals established by the plan are as follows. First, to position Ottawa as a major tourist destination and a point of access in the Midwest. Next, to find a balance between land development and stewardship and conservation. To position downtown as a model of an intact and vibrant historic American city. To create connected transportation paths, including pedestrian and bicycle paths. To create 21st century jobs that attract new corporate campuses and industry. To reinvest in existing neighborhoods to keep them vibrant. To add diversity to our housing stock. And to establish future growth boundaries and encourage new development toward the city's core. Undoubtedly, the most exciting goal deals with the downtown waterfront area. The plan calls for considerable public investment at the former Central School site, including the creation of an open-air amphitheater, a botanic garden, and a harbor, as well as some sort of community building on the west edge of the property. Equally important, I believe, is the opportunity for private investment just north of the school site, allowing for potential mixed-use development, including restaurants and retail opportunities at street level, with apartments or condos overlooking this beautiful park and riverfront. And I got to say, when I was at Riverfest a weekend ago, 2 people approached me and said, I want to live in that building. And one of them, I said, well, that's where I want to end up. And one lady said, well, I just want mine raw. I don't want to finish. I'll finish it myself. And when I said, I think I want to live there too, she said, well, we'll be neighbors and I give good parties. So I actually think once we get floor plans and numbers, I think we're going to be able to pre-sell these, and I think that project can take off in the next couple of years. With that goal in mind, a lot of progress has been made this past year in readying the site. The school itself has been demolished. The seating has now been completed. We have performed extensive environmental testing throughout the site. Our site investigation discovered some coal tar deep below the ground surface. Though it poses no direct threat to the public using the site, Comet and Nicor have stepped up to clean up the coal tar to allow for future development. They plan to use a cutting-edge technology to burn the coal tar in place, avoiding the extreme cost of excavating 20 feet deep right next to the river. In addition, investigative work and remediation of the ground surface is now complete. The ground surface is now deemed safe for public use. Our intention is to continue the work necessary to get the necessary EPA sign-offs for the site to protect the city and the public. All of this work has been 100% funded through the Ike Flood Buyout Grant and Brownsfields grants. In the meantime, the site as is a very beautiful place to be, and the city is exploring and looking at ways we might be able to move some of our festivals down to the site in the next year. Let me talk just a little bit about city services. The Ottawa Police Department, first of all, has continued to maintain its long-time standing as one of the most professional and progressive law enforcement agencies in the area. This is done, among other things, through the continued support and established successful programs such as the peer jury, aimed at keeping young first-time offenders out of the juvenile court system, and newer programs such as the Ottawa Police Department Child Abduction Response Team. Our 911 dispatch center completed its first year of providing dispatching for the city of Marseilles. The department has also started a trial process to dispatch for Wallace Fire Protection District. The 911 center has expanded physically, and we are continuing to add telecommunicators to better serve our communities. That program is working very well and is an example of governments working together to share resources and operate more efficiently in challenging economic times. A lot of retirements in the city this year, including in January, Patty Burke, who retired after 18 years of service as a city telecommunicator, and in February, Sergeant Bob Anderson concluded 21 years with the department. Patty and Bob's dedication to the department and the citizens of Ottawa will be missed, and we wish them both well in their retirement. In February, Officer Kyle Boris, an 8-year veteran of the police department, was promoted to the rank of corporal. And we continue, as in the past, to assign 2 Ottawa police officers to the Illinois Law Enforcement Alarm System, ILEAS, Mobile Field Force, which allows Illinois law enforcement agencies to provide mutual aid assistance in times of need through the provision of officers and/or equipment across the state of Illinois. The Ottawa Police Department also continues to show its green side through the continued successful support of the Prescription Pill and Drug Disposal Program, or P2D2. And as I said last year, this is designed to keep drugs out of our waters by collecting them at the police department. And so far, the police department collection drop-off has collected more than 7,000 pounds of prescription medication, which otherwise could get into the water system. Last year, the police department responded to over 17,000 calls, and the dispatch center processed 24,000 calls for service. The fire department continues to be the busiest emergency service in the area. In 2013, the 29-member department ran 3,200 calls, and as of September of this year, the fire department has run 2,568 calls. The department consists of 9 employees on each shift. The records clerk assists the chief with his daily duties. Our department has attained a Class 3 ISO rating. ISO ratings range from 1 to 10, with 1 being the highest level of public fire protection. The ISO rating is used to determine the cost of homeowners and property insurance, and only 65 communities in the entire state of Illinois have a higher ISO rating. Last year fire department saw the retirement of Chief Jeff Newberry after almost 30 years of service. Jeff is now an assistant professor of fire science at Sauk Valley Community College. Steve Haywood replaced Jeff as chief just a few months ago. In addition to his 25 years of experience on the force, Steve brings degrees in occupational safety and industrial technology, fire science, and business to the job. Chief Haywood has remarked that his goals will be to keep the ship on the course set by former Chief Newberry. In addition, the department currently has 2 new firefighter paramedics, Christian Newberry and Devin Fleming. Both are at the Fire Academy as I speak. And the department has had 2 promotions. Lieutenant Andy Bukowski, promoted to captain, and firefighter Michael Mills has been promoted to lieutenant. Not only does the city provide paramedic service for emergency calls, we now also provide emergent and non-emergent transfer service for Ottawa and the surrounding area. In addition to providing our service to OSF St. Elizabeth, local nursing homes, and local residents, we also have been called to transfer patients from Mendota, Streeter, and even Morris. Currently, 11 of our 22 paramedics are critical care paramedics. These medics are trained to a higher level to provide advanced skills such as ventilators, specialty IV pumps and medications, chest tubes, and advanced cardiac care. The transfer service is self-supporting and provides a cheaper, quicker service for our citizens. For the first time in the city's history, the department is having 2 new ambulances delivered at the same time. These 2015 Ford ambulances will have state-of-the-art technology, and due to increased rural calls, will have 4x4 capabilities. These ambulances bring our ambulance fleet to four advanced life support units. And the city's fire department, and another example of good intergovernmental cooperation, now provides all EMS service to the Wallace Fire Protection District and the Village of May Plain. Intergovernmental agreements with both entities are fair for the local taxpayers and allow for residents within those fire department areas to be billed at the same rate as City of Ottawa residents. In exchange, the city receives about $200,000 annually to help defray our expenses. In addition to these agreements, the Ottawa Fire Department has been proactive in training with these local departments, participating in training burns on some of the purchased homes down in the Fox River Park area, as well as hazmat and ladder training. The department has been proactive in streamlining training by the purchase of training software, allowing department members to train online, saving money and tracking training hours and certifications. An average firefighter trains about 240 hours per year, and this training is one of the reasons we had the lower ISO rating that is helpful in lowering our insurance rates. The department also continues to be proactive in training its members to respond to county or statewide emergencies as members of the MABUS, or the Mutual Aid Division 25. And we have 4 members on the county hazardous response team and 9 members on the technical rescue team. And this allows us to work with other municipal, county, and state agencies in the event of emergencies. And finally, I'd like to mention that the fire department continues to participate in fire prevention and education activities, which include visits to schools, working places, and working with children, mainly pre-K through 4th grade. And to aid in fire prevention and outreach, the smoke trailer was recently overhauled thanks to a contribution from ADM. Let me talk a little bit about public works in the city. The city continues to strengthen its public works department, which merged 4 departments, water, wastewater, parks, and streets, to make more effective use of personnel and equipment. We have made alterations at the street department facilities so that workers assigned to the parks and streets divisions will now be in the same building. This year, our Public Works Department also successfully filed an application with the Department of Natural Resources for a Youth Recreation Corps grant in the amount of $27,000, which provided employment for 6 young people this summer. Much of their time was spent on parks and landscape projects. With respect to our water division, this past year we found ways to significantly reduce electricity costs at our water treatment and pumping stations. Variable frequency drives can slow down, and everybody's going to learn something here. Variable frequency drives can slow down or speed up how fast water is pumped from our wells. In the past, the cost of purchasing and installing these devices kept us from moving ahead. This year, the city was able to get a grant through the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity to cover 75% of the cost of construction. We will be now saving over $24,000 a year in electric bills. The payback time for this project is only 8 months. Bob Rick, our assistant water superintendent, retired this year after 22 years of service. Additionally, Debbie Stash, our water cashier, will be retiring at the end of the year after 21 years of service to the city. Talk a little bit about our combined sewers in Ottawa. You know, we've got a problem that's been around for a long time because some of our stormwater mixes in with our sanitary sewers. But a lot of progress has been made in addressing the challenges of combined sewers. We have discovered that some west side houses were connected to old pipes that flow directly to the river. Over the past 2 years, those households have been properly connected to the sanitary sewer. Our next step is to inspect all the combined sewers to verify the condition and then develop a plan to address problems, many due to the age of the system. The City Council just recently approved a contract for over $500,000 with National Power Rodding to clean and televise the combined sewers. We are also acutely aware of the sanitary sewer problem in the Mason Street area on the south side and have added that entire area to the televising contract. This is something that our wastewater folks have wanted me to talk about for a long time, and that's grease. One of the problems we have to address is addressing the situation with respect to grease in our sewers from households as well as from poorly maintained grease traps in restaurants and other businesses. Too often, grease is washed into the plumbing system, usually through the kitchen sink. Grease sticks to the insides of sewer pipes, both on your property and ours. Over time, the grease can build up and block entire pipes. Ottawa has had buildings flooded due to grease buildup and pipes in the street. So we're requesting of you, please put your grease in the garbage. But we don't trust you. To help keep grease out of the sewers, Ottawa has contracted with Aqua Backflow to begin a grease monitoring program. They will be confirming that restaurants, service shops, and other non-residential businesses properly use and maintain their grease traps and oil separators. Installation, maintenance, and required repairs will be enforced. On a positive note, Public Works Director and Assistant Superintendent of the Wastewater Treatment Plant, Bob Schull, was honored in March as a leader in the wastewater field by the Illinois Water Environmental Association, receiving its award for outstanding contributions to wastewater treatment plant professionalism. And additionally, more recently, Bob has been nominated by the Illinois EPA for the Illinois Association Water Pollution Control's Operator of the Year Award. Congratulations to Bob. This probably is a good place also to mention that Assistant City Engineer Arnie Banstra also retired this year. Arnie was very involved in our water and wastewater systems. Talking about streets just a little bit. Again this year, the city took on an aggressive street reconstruction and resurfacing program. Included are the widening and reconstruction of a portion of Glover Street from 5th Avenue to Magnolia, and Birch Lawn and a portion of Poplar Street on the west side are also being completely reconstructed. The city is also resurfacing over 23,000 feet, that's about 49 blocks, twice as many as we did last year, and patching about 8 blocks at a total cost of $1.2 million. All in all, almost 4,000 feet of curb was replaced with 25 sidewalk ramps in 23 blocks throughout the city at another cost of about $235,000. The city also recently purchased a piece of equipment called Total Patcher, which will allow city crews to make road maintenance repairs of potholes and cracked pavement. Using the spray patch technique, which will provide cost savings by not having to contract out the work, and also allowing us to repair more area for the dollar, extending the life of aging asphalt streets. We're also experiencing retirements in the street division. Rusty Wells retired in August after 37 years of service to the city, and Gene Thacker will retire in December with 19 years of service. Talk a little bit about our park system. I mentioned right away that we had another retirement there. Mark Headley retired from the Parks Division after serving the city for 14 years. Mentioned the Emerald Ash Borer problem. We talked a little bit about that last year. Let me just give you a quick update. Since the ash borer was discovered in Ottawa, we have a management plan now that calls for removal of about 800 ash trees and treating about the best 100 we have on public property. Our city arborists have been treating these trees with fair success. The city has contracted out the removal of more than 100 ash trees this year, and by the end of the year, almost 250 ash trees will have been removed. And speaking of trees, the city has in some cases been able to replace lost trees through plantings that are now taking place on the west side and south sides of Ottawa. About 250 trees are being planted as the final phase of a Greenways grant the city initially received about 4 years ago. This past year, the City of Ottawa and the Playground and Rec Board have worked together to continue to identify recreational needs and to develop needed facilities. The Lincoln Douglas Complex area in 2014 was much improved due to the addition of more parking for the baseball facilities. Whitney Field, the new baseball field east of Massanelli Field, saw its first competitive use this spring. This field, named for the late Commissioner Ed Whitney, will relieve pressure on some of the other diamonds as well as provide another high-quality practice facility. Whitney Field also converts to a soccer field, which has already served the community as a site for numerous camps and practices. To serve the near northwest side, the rec board broke ground this summer on Hollywood Park. Soon, several sets of play equipment will be installed with landscaping and other amenities to follow. Additionally, the playground and rec board contributed to the new bike lanes on streets around the city and also advised the city at Fox River Park as the houses and roads were removed to create a truly park-like experience. The rec board continued its renovation of Reardon Pool by sandblasting and painting the pool this year. For the third straight year, the pool passed all inspections with 100% compliance, an impressive achievement. Although cool weather kept attendance down, the pool fulfilled its commitment to open all possible days and hosted many community events such as the All-City Swim Meet, the citywide open house, business after hours, a family pizza night, National Night Out, and a Patron Appreciation Day. The pool is used for auto recreation swim lessons and has also served as a summer practice area for the Ottawa High School swim team. Just as important as the facilities are the youth and adult activities sponsored by the Ottawa Playground and Rec Board. This year's summer youth program offers supervisors at 8 parks, an Ottawa tradition unique among surrounding communities. The summer recreation program featured over 45 special activities, camps, and clinics, teaching skills from art to basketball to bowling to photography to running to volleyball to wrestling, serving over 3,000 of the youth of Ottawa and the surrounding communities. The Recreation Board continues to work with the dedicated volunteers of the youth leagues, making sure that the facilities were available for summer sports and that the leagues were run for the benefit of the 700 young athletes who participate. Ottawa Recreation's long tradition of sponsoring outstanding adult softball continued this year at June Grove and Roy Sanders Fields. This year, 42 men's teams and 18 women's teams vied for a league championship in the summer leagues, with 24 men's and 18 women's teams playing in the fall leagues. Overall, the City of Ottawa sponsored a total of 18 weeks of recreational softball over the course of 2014. And adult recreation does not end with softball. Ottawa Recreation Adult Basketball, in cooperation with Ottawa High School, sponsored a 10-game season with 16 teams and over 250 participants. Again, Jane and Rod Shomas volunteered their time to host dance lessons every Tuesday evening. Roz Sesto of Energy Yoga sponsored free sunrise yoga classes Saturday mornings in Washington Square. And a favorite of our senior citizens, the annual Harvest Dance featuring Class Act is scheduled for October 19th. Last year, this dance was attended by over 150 big band dance enthusiasts. The 9 appointed volunteers serving on the Ottawa Playground and Rec Board, its pool director, its recreation director, take their responsibilities seriously. Every expenditure is scrutinized to ensure that the board is responsibly adding to the recreational opportunities in Ottawa while keeping costs reasonable for participants. This might be a good point to also mention that the Dayton Bluffs Nature Preserve on the Fox River was officially annexed into the City of Ottawa this year. The city has entered into a long-term lease and management agreement with the Conservation Foundation for this incredible 252-acre parcel of land consisting of a beautiful natural forest area and some farmland which will eventually be returned to prairie and forest land. The property has about 1 mile of frontage on the Fox River and is a wonderful addition to the city's open space and parklands. Already volunteers are working in the preserve. Hundreds of Fairmont Minerals employees cleared 15 acres of invasive species at a company workday a few months ago. And at the same time, local contractors and volunteers from the trades installed a roadway and parking area to provide access to the preserve. The city this year continued to administer the North Central Area Transit, or NCAT system, providing public transportation throughout LaSalle County. In our first complete fiscal year, ending in July, nearly 50,000 rides were provided throughout the county, utilizing a system-wide fleet of 17 vehicles operated by the city, Illinois Valley Community Hospital, and Horizon House. NCAT also has contracts with several organizations such as St. Mary's Hospital in Streeter and Friendship House to provide services to their clients and patients. So far, all of our expenses have been covered with state and federal funds. However, we have started asking local units of government and agencies to contribute to a fund to provide a 35% local match for future operating funds from the state. Up until now, we've been able to use banked federal funds to match the state funding. NCAT was not immune from the retirement bug, as bus drivers Arla Serby and Katie Heft retired following over 42 years of combined service. Talk a little bit about tourism, because I think this is very important in the economic development of the city. I believe it plays an important role in our economic and cultural vitality, and will play a larger role as Ottawa becomes more of a destination. The Ottawa Visitor Center continues to promote and market the Ottawa experience to visitors. The Ottawa Visitor Center had quite a year this year, from winning the best design at the Governor's Conference on Tourism in 2013, all the way to winning best branding campaign for the entire state in 2014. They competed with communities and organizations with advertising budgets up to $700,000. The Walt Willey Pick Us commercial was designed to have a shelf life of several years in order to capitalize on the images and popularity of the brand. Continue where I left off, the city and the Visitor Center work cooperatively with Starved Rock Country in promoting the area by taking advantage of the popularity of Starved Rock State Park and the Starved Rock brand. Many of the music programs presented by Starved Rock Country this year were held here in Ottawa. And this past May, the inaugural Starved Rock Country Marathon began in downtown Ottawa with the finish line at Heritage Harbor. Over 1,300 runners registered for this event, with 24 states as well as Canada and Ireland being represented. Over 800 of the participants traveled more than 50 miles to the start line. The event was a great success, and I am pleased that Starved Rock Country Marathon will be returning to Ottawa next spring. Festivals and special events also play a large part of our tourism efforts. Besides being just wonderful things for the community at large. This year, our Morel Mushroom Festival drew a record number of participants and included a new feature, that being the sampling of craft brews by beer brewing clubs from around the state. I got to be a judge at that. It was very nice. Despite a rainy Saturday evening, the 2014 Two Rivers Wine and Jazz Fest had a record paid attendance of over 4,000 people, the majority of them from outside the city. Hundreds of others enjoyed the 3 days of music, entertainment, great food, including lobster served by the Ottawa Noon Rotary. The Ottawa Riverfest was also well attended this year, and the weather was nearly perfect. And based on everyone I talked to, the music performances were very well received. This year, the traditional Scarecrow Fest and the Ottawa First Oktoberfest were set for the same weekend, resulting in an incredibly large and happy crowd in the downtown area. And the upcoming Thanksgiving weekend will again feature our Festival of Light celebration combined with Ice Odyssey. This will be a great opportunity to visit downtown and start your Christmas shopping early right here in Ottawa. There's also an opportunity to take a carriage ride and visit the beautiful Reddick Mansion, which will be on display in all its holiday glory. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about city finances, and I want to say that Don Harris helped me prepare this. And he texted me last night saying that when I get to the city finance section, there surely will be a standing ovation. The general corporate fund budget was adopted, which is the primary, let me start over. The general corporate fund budget as adopted, which is the primary operating account for the city, was again balanced for the fiscal year ending April 30th, 2015, coming in at about $15 million. Annual city expenditures for all uses are approximately $42 million. Is anyone standing yet? Besides Don? With limited and finite resources, the City Council is tasked with making difficult financial choices and is certainly not able to do all that it would like to do. But the Council evaluates and considers with thoughtful debate each decision and expenditure to attempt to maximize the benefit for every dollar allocated for the general well-being, maintenance, and enhancement of the community. Nearly 80% of the general fund revenue for the city is derived from two sources, property taxes and sales taxes, with property taxes accounting for nearly 50% of the general revenue. The city has been able to maintain its fiscal viability and fulfill its financial obligations in spite of the fact that there has been a continuing downward trend, now extending to 4 consecutive years, in the equalized assessed valuation of the properties on which the city receives tax revenue. This is certainly not unique to Ottawa, but obviously adds to the challenges and forces the council to prioritize the use of its resources. On a much more positive and encouraging note, the city's sales tax receipts have increased to date on a year-over-year basis compared to 12 months prior by almost 4%. This improvement, coupled with the fact that the EAV decline trend is diminishing, portends some more hopeful prospects for the future. The city and its residents are fortunate, and the council appreciates the fact that the city employees and their various bargaining units have worked with the city to efficiently manage payroll and benefit expenses. As we hear so much about challenges in the various public pension systems, I'm proud to report that the city has always fulfilled its actuarial recommended contribution obligations to the various employee pension plans, which, coupled with the prudent management of those plans, has positioned our employee pensions in a favorable position relative to many other plans. The city's debt has been refinanced where possible to take advantage of reduced interest rates. We've been able to maintain our necessary infrastructure and provide professional public safety services to the community and for the benefit and peace of mind of its citizens. We have aggressively pursued available grants and are continually seeking and exploring opportunities to leverage the financial resources that we have available. So while there are financial challenges with which we have dealt and by which we will continue to be challenged, I think we should all be proud of the collective effort to address those challenges and to maintain a city and its resources that is the envy of many. Two kind of fund-related topics that I just mentioned are medical marijuana and video gaming. A very unique opportunity presented to the city this past year was the interest of a number of investor groups to bring to Ottawa the business of growing medical cannabis and establishing dispensaries for the new healthcare product. In exchange for our support, the city negotiated with each prospect an agreement which would provide the city various fashions a percentage of their revenues generated by local cannabis operations. The new state law legalizes medical marijuana and allows for establishment of only one cannabis cultivation facility in our state police district and only one dispensary facility. Our state police district consists of LaSalle, Bureau, and Putnam counties. In the end, we had 3 developers file for cultivation and 3 for dispensaries, and I think we had 13 throughout the state, throughout the district. But we don't make that decision. The decision's made by the Department of Agriculture in Springfield, and we expect that decision sometime by the end of the year. Another action by the state of Illinois, this time the legalization of video gaming, has spurred a video gaming boom in Ottawa to a certain extent. Video gaming has been added to many bars and restaurants, plus several standalone video gaming parlors have been opened. The video gaming is now generating more than $11,000 per month in new city revenues. I want to close by talking a little bit about Ottawa's blooming. Ottawa's participation in the American Bloom National Competition continue to be one of the most positive things in our city. I want to thank Stephanie Stacy and Melissa Ruvalcaba for co-chairing both our 2013 and 2014 campaigns, along with our strong steering committee. Once again, the campaign received invaluable private financial support, this year primarily from NICOR, Inga Karras, and Anthony and Karen Romano, in addition to benefiting from a fundraising event sponsored by the Ottawa Tree Board. Last year I told you that thanks to our local Ottawa's Blooming campaign, which supports Ottawa's entry in the American Bloom National Competition, the City of Ottawa never looked better. I am pleased to report that the American Bloom judges this year seem to agree, and our entry into the 2014 competition has resulted in a first place champion award in our population classification. The judges were particularly impressed that businesses made extra beautification efforts with planters and landscaping, and that people all over town responded to our call to make 2014 the year of the zinnia in Ottawa. This effort was co-sponsored by the Ottawa Garden Club and resulted in the planting of thousands of these gorgeous, colorful, easy to grow, and long-lasting flowers all over town. We continued our efforts to remove what I call pointless asphalt around the downtown. This year, for example, at the Hassel parking lot, we were able to create significant green areas without sacrificing a single parking space. A major addition to Ottawa was the creation of a community garden on Dayton Road. The city leased 2 acres of vacant land and made small gardening plots available to Ottawa citizens at very reasonable rates. More than 24 individuals and groups enjoyed producing bountiful crops of vegetables during the growing season. We entertained the American Bloom judges at the new community garden, where they had a chance not only to view the gardens, but to meet a large group of our gardeners and volunteers in a picnic setting. Another very beneficial new feature of the 2014 Ottawa's Blooming campaign was the establishment of an Ottawa Community Public Arts Committee with a mission of promoting public art in our city. The first project was the Rainbow Flower, a sculpture 4 feet in diameter featuring hundreds of brightly colored pieces of a glass mosaic placed on the sculpture by more than 400 people under the guidance of local mosaic sculpture artist Susan Burton. It has been placed on permanent display in Allen Park, where we hope that the addition of future creations will produce a sculpture trail. Volunteer artists also place mosaics on trash containers throughout the downtown area, transferring mundane concrete containers into works of art. And I guess I need to say thanks to everyone, not only volunteers, but our city staff and the council for all the support in that project. So, all in all, I think things are going well in Ottawa. I sense a general positive feeling among citizens that I talk to, and that certainly is reflected in the work of our volunteers. It's great to be a mayor working with in cooperation with the Chamber on a host of projects. It's also great to work with a council that cares, a professional staff all on the same team, and a good group of hard-working employees. Thanks to all of them and to you, all of you here who care about this community and have given a good measure of yourselves for the benefit of this great city.
Last call for any questions you may have. If you've got one jotted down, hold the paper up and Meg will come by and get it. In the meantime, we've got this one here for you, Mayor. Are we going to have an assistant fire chief in case the current one decides to retire like the last one?
I know I have a former fire chief who's going to come in and talk to me about that in a few weeks. At the Ottawa Fire Department, we're kind of in a unique situation. All of our support staff, the captains and lieutenants, are all union members. We really only have one administrator, that's the chief, and sometimes it's hard to act alone. And I know the recommendation is that we at some point have a deputy chief. We did have one in the past for a time and cut that out as part of our fiscal efforts, but that's something that we'll have to explore, and I know what that questionnaire is getting at.
And I've got a question that I'll ask for you. Does the city have any concerns with the expansion of the frac sand mining in the area with additional truck traffic, freight train traffic? Yeah.
Well, it's here. It's already happened. The train traffic that affects Ottawa is primarily from U.S. Silica, and it used to be Wedren Silica, but now they build new facilities. So most of those Wedren cars that otherwise would come through Ottawa no longer do. We reacted in one situation where we were directly involved to provide a loading facility at ADM on the south side, simply because we were trying to lessen the impact of truck traffic in Ottawa. And that would serve a proposed mining operation out by Star Rock. But the others are beyond our jurisdiction, and they're used in pretty much state routes. And if you go to the state of Illinois, they'll say that's what they're for. They're put there to help industry. And as far as we know, the trucks coming through town are pretty much beyond state routes. And I guess we'll just have to monitor it. But I guess there's a concern, but I'm not sure there's a whole lot we can do.
And one more for you here. Is there any potential for a sustainable food market to be bolstered through a partnership between small business owners and local farmers?
Small business owners or local farmers here? It seems like it's a good idea. I don't really know too much more than that. We do have our farmers market where people actually grow the crops come in, but there may be opportunities for partnership.
Anything else from everybody? All right, Mayor. Thank you, sir. Going Pronged.
Thank you, Mayor, for highlighting why Ottawa continues to be the most envied community in LaSalle County. Ottawa has been very fortunate over these past 6 difficult years to have a very diversified manufacturing and rural base, and sitting on one of the most valuable natural resources, silica sand. Ottawa did not lose any companies, kept most of their employees, and today they are expanding and adding jobs. And I don't think you can say anything better than that for what we have done here in Ottawa. I want to thank today's event sponsor, Exelon Generation. I want to thank our Diamond members, Ottawa St. Francis and St. Elizabeth Medical Center, Sabic Innovative Plastics, Star Rock Country, the First National Bank of Ottawa, the Times, WCMY 430, SAM FM, and the Chamber Ambassadors. Thank you all for attending, and have a safe drive home.